let's move into main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Ryan T. And Ryan T writes, "Greetings and salutations, the John Campea Show crew. Okay, we all knew that Game of Thrones was the biggest show HBO had going for it, and the final season broke all kinds of viewership records. A bunch of us thought HBO would take a hit after Thrones finished, but it felt like everything was fine. But then Variety just reported that after the finale of Game of Thrones, HBO took a major dive and lost half of their viewers and have never been able to recover. Do you think this is why Warner Brothers is desperate to push HBO Max right now?" Okay, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And listen, this is probably in no coincidence that this is also tied into topic number 1 about why is HBO bringing back Sex and the City? This might have something to do with it. So this is what he's referring to in the question, okay? This comes to us from our friends over at Joe Blow, who writes, "When Game of Thrones ended, the network saw a 51% loss of its adult audience ages 18 through 49. That's their prime demographic that they're looking for. They're 18 to 49 viewers. 51% loss after the series finale aired. The series finale was watched by 12 million viewers, and the report suggests that a lot of viewers bailed on HBO after the finale came and went. HBO has lost 38% of its overall viewers when compared to 2019. The dwindling numbers for the network are likely why HBO has been promoting HBO Max more aggressively. Critically acclaimed efforts like Westworld and Watchmen do have solid fan bases, but their numbers are nowhere near the heights of Game of Thrones." Rob, this is no small thing. This is no small thing. And I have to, now Joe Blow is also getting these reports from Variety as well. This is confirmed stuff. We have all said, and I still remember back, Rob, when Game of Thrones was wrapping up and coming to its conclusion. Right. A lot of us were very much like, they're going to have to scramble to try to keep them numbers. But you're right. The appearance that was made was that it appeared everything was fine. They just kept going. Now we're finding out that they lost over 50% of their main demographic that they look for, and almost 40% of their overall, wrap your head around that, 40% of your overall viewership that you had on your network, poof, gone. Rob, this not only to me says something about just how important Game of Thrones. We all knew Game of Thrones was important to HBO. I think even in our biggest estimations, we didn't even get big enough. I don't think we fully grasped just how important Game of Thrones was to HBO. We knew it was their crown jewel, but that important. But Rob, I think this information that we're getting from Variety is also putting into context a lot of stuff we see going on today with HBO and HBO Max. Their absolute desperation to push as many people to HBO Max as possible. The decision to take all their films in 2021 and try to put them on HBO Max. The fact that they're bringing back Sex and the City, which I still don't think is a bad idea. Bringing back Sex and the City makes sense. I get that. But it does put a lot of things in context. And even I, back then, when I said, yeah, I think HBO is going to take a hit, I never thought we'd be talking about numbers of 40% overall, 51% of your key demographic. I just didn't see that coming. And if you're HBO, who started getting comfortable over the course of 7+ years of being, hey, we got all these huge numbers, blah, 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 and all of a sudden it disappeared. I'm not going to lie to you, Rob. This caught me by surprise. I was actually really kind of shocked to see these numbers. So for you, Rob, number one, how much of a surprise are these number levels to you? And how does it change, or does it change at all, your perception of the current context we see HBO Max and the moves that they're making at this point? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think it shows you can look at this as an indicator of what all streaming services have to deal with, which is that water cooler shows or premiere shows that get a lot of traction. Look, they are really, really important to the success of any streamer. And I had HBO, and the only thing I ever watched on it was Game of Thrones. And when Game of Thrones was over, I didn't much care about it. I didn't become a subscriber again until Watchmen. I mean, I kept it to Watchmen, but then it went away. Now I hadn't had it until Wonder Woman 84 debuted and got HBO Max finally. And this is true of all streamers. And the thing is, you can't survive on one show. You've got to have 10 shows or 20 shows. And how do you sustain that year after year, week after week, month after month? I went backwards there, but you know what I mean? You've got to have programming that people come to again and again and again, and not just one show. And imagine in the streaming wars, you're not just competing against yourself here. Like HBO's looking for the next Game of Thrones. They're competing against all the other streamers that have the new, whether it's The Boys or The Expanse or whatever your favorite
Lord of
show
the
is
Rings
that you
that's
watch.
coming up.
Lord of the Rings, that's a perfect example. And think about it, John. The common model is these shows run 8-10 episodes. Well, what do you do for the rest of the year? How do you get these water cooler shows one after another? And it really shows that content, we've always said it on this show, you say it all the time, content is king. And when you're a streamer, you need content 52 weeks out of the year. And then if it's only one show, what do you do for the rest of the week when somebody's watched your hour-long marquee program? How do you get them coming back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday when they watch their one show Sunday night? I mean, this is a graphic illustration of how difficult it is to keep a viable streaming service going 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's tough, and content is king.
And that raises one of the big, why this is such a mystery in many ways, because it's not like HBO had nothing else in the stable. When you look at their catalog and their library, whether it's Deadwood or whether it's Sopranos or whether it's now, then you get even the modern stuff. Barry people love Barry. Lovecraft Country, people loved. The Watchmen, people loved. And yet, even though they have some really good quality content, they haven't been able to make up those losses they had losing Game of Thrones. And you're right, on top, like you see all these other new series coming that are already here and they're coming. It raises a big question. And will AT&T and Warner Brothers continue to try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Compensate for those losses by moving more of its movie division that way? Do they think that's going to make up for it? I don't know. It's a big question. Guys, the question for you is, what do you think of these numbers that we're seeing coming out of HBO, that they've actually lost that many? They have not been able to recoup them. Do you think that is a direct reason why we're seeing them implement the strategies, quote unquote strategies, with HBO Max that they're doing now? Do you think it's a separate thing altogether? What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.